Today we are working Psalm 19. Psalm 19 has all kinds of beautiful, wonderful uses, including finding faith in your magic, receiving blessings, being released from prison. Today we are going to be using it to allow the divine design of our lives to manifest. I consider it a solar light psalm. So we're going to be using Psalm 19 to allow the manifestation of the divine design of our lives. The way that we work psalm magic is very simple and extremely effective. We take the psalm in question and we read it out loud all the way through once without stopping. And we call this an incantation. And then we take that same psalm and we go through it verse by verse, and we consider each verse, digging and searching, toiling in the soil, finding hidden occult meanings. And then when we find those hidden occult meanings, we recognize that they're like seeds of magic, that through this process of digging and contemplating and applying what we find to whatever we bring to the psalm, that in a real sense that those seeds are planted in the fertile ground of our deep minds, where they take root and they grow and they blossom forth, and then they bear fruit after their kind. And that's exactly what we're going to do together right now, you and I, with Psalm 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. We start out with the heavens declare the glory of God. So the heavens, in this sense, is the sky, that which is above us. Think in terms of an ancient person who didn't know of atmosphere. They didn't know about outer space. They didn't know about anything other than the fact that what's up in the sky must be that which is of God, that which is of the gods. So that which is above me is declaring the glory of God. Now, the glory of God is the aura of God, that which glows. From a psalmic magic perspective, this is probably one of those psalms that wasn't purified of its pagan roots. Now, some people think that it was rewritten as a polemic against paganism, but it doesn't seem to be that at all. To me, it seems as though this has within it the seeds of those ancient prayers and devotions to the sun. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. That dome of atmosphere is showing us God's handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. So, the heavens every single day are giving you word after word after word, knowledge after knowledge after knowledge. This is the divine design of the universe. Now we are personalizing this as being the divine design of your life. Now, if there's something in your life that's not divine, then we are asking that this psalm align you with that which is the divine design, because everything in your life works just like clockwork, just like the universe works. And anything that's out of sync with that perfection is not God's will. So we want to hear the promptings of infinite intelligence that brings us back into that manifestation of the divine design of our lives. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. And that's what you want. The only voice you're hearing is the voice of the divine design. You're not listening to the voice of your ego. You're not listening to the voice of other people. You're not listening to the voice of the news programs. You're not listening to the voice of gossip. You're listening to the voice of infinite intelligence, which is declaring the divine design and guiding you step by step by step, every single moment of time and point of space, if you but listen. But you see, the voice of the infinite versus the voice of the ego are happening simultaneously, and our attention can only hold one or the other. It's like a radio dial. You can't listen to two stations at once. You can either tune your attention to the voice of infinite intelligence, or you can tune your dial to the voice of everything else, of this world, of your ego. And we are saying, no, we want the voice of infinite intelligence to be the only voice we heard. There's no speech or language where their voice is not heard. No matter what's going on, I'm only listening to the voice for infinite intelligence. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. So when you're listening to the voice of infinite intelligence, there is no spot where God is not in your experience. Now that's true anyway. There is no spot where God is not. God is infinite, omnipresent. Infinite intelligence is omnipresent. However, our experience in this world doesn't need to reflect that, because we have free will and we can listen to any voice we feel like. But if we're listening to the voice of infinite intelligence, then we are always aware that the infinite's presence is everywhere, always, throughout all the earth. And that the words that we hear from infinite intelligence are constantly available to us. There's no place that we can go anywhere in our mind or in the world where we don't have access to that direction. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. Think of the sun itself as a tabernacle. The ancient wisdom is not that the God was the sun. It's that God looks through the face of the sun. So the sun is a representation of infinite intelligence. It's a symbol. It's like the temple is not God. The tabernacle is not God. So the sun is not God, but it is God's representative here on earth, because what could you do on this earth without the sun? How could you even exist without the sun? It's impossible to exist without the sun. So it's a perfect symbol for our dependence on God. We are as dependent on infinite intelligence as our bodies and as the physical world is dependent on the sun. And that's what that tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. So that tabernacle shows us that you think about the chariot of Apollo being dragged across the firmament every single day, chasing night, coming back in the morning, and chasing night, coming back in the morning, and chasing night. That is the symbol of infinite intelligence, is always in its perfect course. Infinite intelligence is always permanently perfect. And that when we are in line with infinite intelligence, our course is just as sure as the course of the sun. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. You can act as though things aren't divine. You can act as though you're an ego. You can act as though you have hidden from infinite intelligence. So just like you can go into a shelter to get shelter from the sun, that's temporary. That's just a temporary thing. You didn't put out the sun when you did that. You just hid from it. Or you can go into some shade. You can go into some shade to hide from the rays of the sun, but you're not putting the sun out of business when you do that. Just the same goes for us when we decide to hide from the divine design of our life. That doesn't mean that we're putting it out of business. It doesn't mean that it's gone away. It means that we have delayed the execution of it. We've delayed the realization of that divine design. And that's when we have problems. That's when we have our problems. But we don't think of it that way. We think that those problems are just coming to us. But in reality, what it is that we have decided for ourselves what we want and what our will is and what our life is going to be about, rather than allowing infinite intelligence to reveal to us what the divine design of our life is. We forget that the divine design of our lives is developed for our safety, for our protection, and for our happiness and our joy. So if we are feeling unsafe, if we're feeling unhappy, if we're feeling anything but joyous, it's because we are turning away from that divine design. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. So the law of the Lord is the divine design, and it's perfect. And there's nothing that you can do to change it, but you can stick your head in the sand about it. You can pretend that the divine design doesn't exist. It converts the soul if you do turn toward it. And to convert the soul simply means that you are aligning with your soul so that your personality and your soul become one. You're no longer defending against the divine design, and so then your problems start to dissolve. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The simple is the simplicity of what it takes to accept the divine design. It's just your heritage. It's not complicated. It's not complicated to wake up from a dream. You just wake up, you just open your eyes. And so in the same way, it's not complicated for you to wake up to the divine design. And instead of having these epic problems that you'd wake up and they're just gone. That's making wise the simple. It's very simple. Wisdom is very simple, and wisdom is already your birthright. And so it's not that you have to be instructed over long periods of time to teach you to be wise. It's simply that you have to open your eyes and wake up and remember, because you're already wise. Your soul doesn't need to be instructed. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. So the statutes are the divine design. It's already been taken care of. It's just like if you are in a class as a child and the teacher writes a problem on the board, you don't have to create the answer to the problem. You have to reveal the answer to the problem. The answer already exists. 1 + 1 equals. Now, if you put the wrong answer on the board, it doesn't mean that you've recreated reality. It means that you've made a mistake. The answer is already there, but you have to find it. So putting the wrong answer on the board doesn't now all of a sudden mean that 2 + 2 = 1, just because you made a mistake. But then the teacher comes and erases that and says, try again. And eventually it reveals itself to you. Eventually you remember how to achieve the right answer. And so that's how the statutes of the Lord are right. They're already there. The divine design is already there. And so it's up to you not to create the divine design for you, because it's already right. You know when you get the right answer because your heart rejoices. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. When you realize the divine design of your life and you stop defending against it, what's before your eyes changes, or appears to change, but actually all it does is it becomes redeemed. You start seeing things for what they are, and things appear to completely alter. It seems as though certain things manifest and certain things disappear, but in reality what's happening is you are now seeing things and experiencing things according to the divine design rather than according to your own personal design. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The fear of the Lord deals with, on one hand, respect. So you respect the law. You respect that God knows more than you do, right? So if something's not working in your life, it simply means that you are on the wrong beam. And that can be you personally, or us as a race, or you as a family, whatever. But if there's something that's not working, according to this psalm, it's because you're not in alignment with the divine design of your life. You are on some other path. The fear of the Lord means that you're going to respect the divine design as being the truth, rather than your design, which is not the truth. And the fear of the Lord also means ecstasy. Think in terms of fear. When you're afraid of something in this world. The reason why we don't like that is because in this world, when we're afraid, it's painful. There's pain attached to it. The fear of the Lord is the only kind of fear that you can experience in this world that's not painful. And so there's an ecstasy involved with that. And so if you are experiencing the ecstasy of the presence of the Lord, that's clean and it endures forever. So when you're experiencing the presence of God, the presence of infinite intelligence. Remember, the Lord is a pre-gender force. There's all oneness. There's nothing to oppose it or thwart it, right? It's not an external deity. It is, you are as to the Lord as a beam of light is to the sun. When you have that fear, when you have that ecstasy, when you have that understanding of the presence, that visceral experiencing of the presence of God, that's clean and it endures forever. That's the one thing that never goes away. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. This is probably something that you could just memorize. You could star this and memorize it. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. That means God knows who you really are. You don't know who you really are like God does. God judges you rightly. God's judgment of you is true and righteous, meaning God created you. God knows what you're all about. And these stories that you have about who you are and your problems and your weaknesses and all of that stuff that you have, all those stories that you've made up throughout lifetime after lifetime of being here, God knows that none of it's true. And so God's judgment about you is the only thing that you want, because it's the reminder to you of who you really are as you were created. God judges you rightly. God only sees what God created. All that extra stuff that you're putting on top of your personality that has nothing to do with the divine design, God judges against that. And you want that. That's exactly what we want. We can't judge like that because we're so lost in the mire of it all. We're so lost in our own nonsense that we can't make a good judgment, but God can. And the judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. You can't fool God. It's not like you're going to do such a good job of expressing yourself as the antithesis of the divine design that God finally says, oh yeah, that's right, you're not very good. That's never going to happen. It's just, you can't do that. You'll never be able to be stronger than God. And God's strength toward you is that you're fabulous. Why? Because God created you fabulous, and there's nothing that you can do about that. But you can sure go to sleep about that truth. You can sure have experiences that that's not true. More desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. It's amazing, the solar symbolism in this. Gold and honey and honeycomb. All of that solar golden symbolism. But the judgments of God are so much more desired than that. You can have all the gold in the world and it's never going to give you the satisfaction of God's judgment, because God judges you rightly. God sees that you're more valuable than anything in the world. You're the most precious thing in the world. God's judgment of you is that you are to be desired more than any gold, and you are sweeter than any honey or honeycomb. That's you. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them is their great reward. We're talking about God's testimonies, God's rules, God's laws. That simply means God's design of you, the perfection of you. Those laws warn God's servants and keep them in great reward. meaning that when we accept the divine design of our life and are willing to let go of our own design of our lives, then we know exactly where to go, exactly what to do. The warned here is exactly what to not go to. It's like you become imbued with this amazing divine GPS system. And when you're completely immersed in accepting the divine design of your life, then you can be warned off of certain things and encouraged to go to other certain things, and there's no mistakes. You never have anything but reward after reward after reward, and you avoid every single thing that is going to cause you problems. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. This is, to me, a wonderful reminder that even when we're not trying to hurt somebody, we can still be the cause of pain in this world. There are times when people go against another person and it's intentional, and that's horrible. But a lot of times it's not intentional, and it hurts just as bad, right? If you accidentally shoot somebody, it doesn't hurt any less than if you purposefully shoot somebody. And this is talking about how the divine design can help you from those careless mistakes just as much as they can help you with those mistakes of you having improper desires, right? You don't want to desire to harm another person, but you also don't want to be careless and harm another person. That's just an example of harming people, but there's no secret faults. There's no carelessness about yourself that is something that you're going to ever have to worry about, because you're being guided and led every step of the way by this divine GPS system, this divine design, and everything. And it doesn't become like you're a robot. It becomes a lot more exciting and fun, because moment to moment to moment, you keep reminding yourself to check back in with the divine design. Where do I go now? Check back in with the divine design. Now what do I do? Now what do I do? Every moment you get a new assignment, It's thrilling. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be upright. That's let me not make decisions all by myself. Let me not have my design that is separate from the divine design. I don't want to be gold acting like I'm lead. I don't want to be this beam of perfection acting like I'm imperfect. I don't want that anymore. I want the truth of me to shine forward. Keep me back from presumptuous sins. Let me not think all by myself. Let me think in consort with you, and let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. So the great transgression is simply the decision that you're separate from infinite intelligence. The great transgression is that idea, that decision that you made, that there must be something wrong with me, so I better fix it myself. So in that ancient story of Lucifer, where Lucifer tried to supposedly speed up everybody's evolution before they were ready, we got into this idea that there was something wrong with us and we needed to look outside of ourselves for help. That was what that apple was in the Garden of Eden. Got to search outside of ourselves for something to fix the problem that is us. And that's the great transgression. So you're going to be innocent from that when you allow the divine design of your life to manifest and remind you that you never did sin. You never did transgress. You never did anything other than fall asleep. And you're fine. You're perfect just the way you are. So is everybody else. Everybody's happy, asleep in paradise, dreaming of these horrible experiences on this earth. That's the great transgression, is the falling asleep to the truth. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. So this is another good thing that you want to star. You can just memorize this one. This is a great little incantation, a little mini incantation. Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart, in other words, the things that I say and the things that I think, let those things be in alignment with the divine design, in other words, acceptable in thy sight, my strength and my Redeemer. So the strength of God is the fifth sphere on the tree of life, and the Redeemer is the sixth sphere on the tree of life. So we are dealing with Samael and Mikael here in this particular psalm. And the reason why we want the strength of God, we want the Samael, the warrior God here, is because that way we don't have to defend ourselves anymore. We can give that to God so that we can be focused on that sixth sphere, which is where that solar light exists, to do its work for us, to redeem us, to be the alchemist, so that only the divine design of our lives is in existence and everything else just falls away. Just like in a distillation, the essential oil is pulled out of all of that inert material, and then that inert material goes away. It's discarded. And that's exactly what we're asking for here, is that only the divine design of our lives is the only thing that is our reality, and that everything else is just discarded as the inert material that it is. And so you just keep coming back to this psalm every single day until you start to get a sense that everything is working out, that there's peace, that there is certainty that your situation is working out perfectly. And once you get that sort of click, then you can let it go and you can move on to something else. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time, blessed be.